Makes sense that this is delicious. I mean, look at all this cheese. Let's make creamy Cacio Pepe, or however the hell you say that. All right, welcome to Kitchen Captain. I'm Ian Walsh, and today we're doing Cacio e Pepe, which is kind of like an Italian mac and cheese with a bit of pepper. And I spent an uncomfortable amount of time researching a dish which in theory should take less than 25 minutes. And we landed on one that seems pretty foolproof from the Italian legendary chef Luciano Monasilio. And we're gonna try our hand at his recipe today. Let's go. All right, step one to our Cacio e Pepe is a lot of cheese. It's gonna be about 120 grams of Pecorino. And in my uncomfortable amount of research, a lot of places alluded to using a fine cheese grater. Don't go for those big holes on the cheese grater. I feel like the Pecorino Santa, making it snow. I think we're good. Before I lose a fingertip, get all of our Pecorino into this pretty bowl my mom made, onto the Parmesan. If nothing else, you will get a forearm workout. Makes sense that this is delicious though. I mean, look at all this cheese. How could anything with this much cheese not be that good? That was close. That was almost a little cheese grated finger there. I don't like when these things get too shallow. I feel like I'm gonna break the cheese grater. I'm leaning into it on the cutting board so hard. We didn't have any Grana Padano cheese, so we used Parmesan. This is going in here. We have our cheeses prepped. Parmesan, Pecorino. We're gonna get rid of all this, get our cooking station set, and we're gonna make it happen. The first step here is we're gonna take 50 mLs of water and 5 grams of cornstarch and make a little slurry. And we wanna do the cornstarch to water while the water's cold. We don't want that hot. We'll get this to heat up and thicken, and then we'll take it off the heat once it's at the consistency we want, which it almost is already. I'll add a little bit more water to that, but that's definitely done. Okay, before we put our pasta in the water, let's get our cheese in here. Pecorino first, Parmesan in next. It does seem like an absurd amount of cheese. Looks good. We're gonna mix these up a little bit. Then some fresh ground pepper. You can kind of take this where you want to, but teaspoon or above. And we're gonna add pepper in as we're mixing it in our skillet and to garnish it. So keep that in mind before you start throwing some tennis elbow into this. Let's get that incorporated. The blades in these things really seem to cut you every time you're cleaning them. Then whenever you want it to get that outer edge, it never really does it. Just giving this a good mixing, and maybe along with shaking myself into concussion protocol, giving this a little bit more of a finer touch to the cheese. We're gonna slowly add in 20 grams of olive oil, and then we're gonna add our starch gel slurry that we made, which is not very liquidy, but it is very jelly. Okay, our cheese mixture in the blender is a little bit dry, so we're gonna salt our pasta water and get our noodles in there right now. Definitely went pretty shallow on the water because I think we want a lot of starch in it, but we'll work these in there. So these noodles are gonna take about 10 minutes to be al dente, and we'll take a couple ladlefuls of this pasta water, add at about 8 minutes to try to get our sauce to a nice creamy consistency, or a gloopy consistency, because then we're gonna break it down into a skillet after. Okay, we're gonna add a cup of our pasta water, turn this on, slowly add this. Oh, it's looking a lot better. I'm gonna scrape these sides down. Might have found the cheat code there. Definitely just splattered myself in the eyeball there. Okay, on comes our skillet. Let's take a few good dollops of this. Looks pretty good. Our induction burner just conveniently broke, so we're going to the stove. Back on the medium heat, we're gonna ladle in some of our pasta water to loosen this up and give it a stir. And then we're gonna add our pasta right into there. Fold that in, Looking pretty good and creamy. That is for certain. Gonna add a little bit more pepper. Definitely looking velvety, and it's coating all the noodles, which is my biggest concern. I think we're good. We're creamy, thick. Let's plate this. Good twist going, that alligator roll. Let's hit it with a little bit more pepper, a little dusting of pecorino. Let's try this creamy delicacy. Hot, definitely hot, but really good. I mean, it's like a velvety creaminess. That definitely works in the blender, and everything I was reading, they're worried about like it not emulsifying while you're mixing it in the skillet, and that blender process is pretty foolproof because I'm a fool and we did just make pretty good Cacio and Pepe. That is really, really good. The Romans were onto something with this. Definitely peppery, definitely good. There you go, Cacio Pepe, thanks for watching.